all the people who want to be here now, which we of course saw in extreme fashion during the NFL draft and the opening of Michigan Central. I mean, I've never been. I'm going to be 55 years old this year. I have never been in a Detroit that has felt like it has in the last couple of years in terms of just people being over the moon about the city and what it offers.
Yeah, I remember being at the draft talking to people from all over the country and even a few people from Europe
Yeah,
who were like shocked at
yeah.
how much there actually was in the city.
There's so much more. I mean, just restaurants and things to do, and it's transformative. The riverfront. I talk all the time about how that is the single most important or significant change in the city. I grew up in a Detroit where you couldn't go to the riverfront for most of it because it was dangerous. It was dirty and industrial, and
Right.
my kids grew up with the riverfront as like the park that was closest to their house. So those kind of things, have made the city very different to live in. That doesn't mean we don't still have real problems, though, and I think that's what people are anxious about in this mayor's race is who can you elect who can maintain what we're doing but extend it, make it matter for more people who live here, and lift up more of the city. I mean, there are lots of places you can go in the city and still feel like there's not a lot of opportunity,
Right.
and people don't have a way to get to that opportunity where it exists. And
Yeah.
connecting those dots that's really hard, and it's going to be harder to do without the support of the federal government that we've had for the last 4 years, which is going to be different. It's going to be harder to do if there's a recession and some of the tax receipts that the city has been able to cash in on, plateau or decrease. So it's an important decision, and there's a lot ahead of us that could be problematic if we don't have the right people in place.
Yeah, I think from the millennial Gen Z voters and people who are active that I've talked to, there is this reluctancy to back a candidate for mayor right now
Yeah,
because we still haven't seen one candidate kind of address that reality that we're heading for a new era that is going to have a lot of new challenges and a lot of new opportunities.
yeah.
But we haven't seen one candidate who has kind of come out and kind of like own that as their platform to run with.
Yeah. Well, and I'd be curious from your standpoint, as a young Detroiter, like the things that come into your mind or that you hear people your age talking about that worry you or maybe even excite you about the city and its future.
Yeah, I'll start with the worry. I like to
Yeah.
start with the negative. I think a lot of folks that are, and I want to clarify, not just people that are around my age, but people that really do read about city, government and read about
Pay
policy.
attention to all of
Yeah,
it.
people who
Yeah.
understand it at least an intermediate level. Um, we want to see a candidate who can really get into like the nerdy policy
Yeah.
specifics of what they want to do. We've heard a lot of candidates, even on this show, talk
Mhm.
about what they would like to do if elected,
Mhm.
what their ideas are, and now it's getting to the point where we want some specifics. We want
Yeah.
people who can talk about here's how I'm going to get the money to do this cool idea. Here is how I'm going to manage crisis when I am mayor.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for that.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is we have some candidates who are qualified, candidates that have very relevant experience
Yeah.
to the
And a
job of
lot of
being
it.
mayor. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that that is an opportunity that excites me to see candidates who have some experience really duke it out in this primary and hopefully push each other to really give their best foot forward.
Yeah, yeah. I also wonder what you're hearing at Bridge Detroit. We are now having in each council district forums, our first forums, where people can come and talk with candidates
Yeah.
for mayor or city council or both about their concerns. I wonder what you're hearing at those about what people want to know from these people who want to lead the city.
Yeah, I think, and much like people my age, a lot of the people showing up, they are people who read the news,
They're
people
plugged
who are,
in.
yeah, people who are pretty involved,
Yeah.
and if not involved in city politics, involved in their local communities.
Yeah.
We're hearing a lot of people that want someone who can be honest about the problems facing Detroit, be really open about the fact that we're not going to have that federal money to kind of rely on
Yeah.
for a lot of programs that are funded through that money. But I'm also hearing that we want candidates who are responsive,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just to the big, oh crap type of problems that we're used to seeing in Detroit, but someone who just feels like someone that you can actually approach and talk to about what's going on in your neighborhood. I
Yeah.
think whoever wants to run for council or whoever is running for council, now that we have our
Right.
official list,
Right.
and who are running for mayor, they need to be able to be responsive in a way that maybe wasn't always expected of people on city council.
Yeah. I remember